Hey everybody, Brian here with the games that I beat in November and December of 2019. This will end the year, start into 2020. So we'll start with a remake of an NES RPG I have fond memories of, and that's Dragon Warrior 3. This is the Game Boy Color remake, which I never played until in November. Dragon Warrior 3 is a very important game to me. Um, it expands on Dragon Warrior in many ways. It adds, you can have three additional player or party members that you pick the class of. So you have a fighter, a warrior, a mage, a priest, a goof off, and they also added a thief and I think a thief. They added a thief to the class in this one. Uh, very good, very good game. They improved upon it with the graphics are obviously for the Game Boy Color a little bit beefier. Um, Still no background, like when you fight an enemy, it's just a plain white background, but that's okay. They added mini medals, which were not introduced until Dragon Warrior 4. They also added monster medals, which are very hard to get. When you fight an enemy, you sometimes get a monster medal. There's a bronze, gold, silver, and gold version. Um, Very great game. I've beaten this Dragon Warrior 3 three times now. Once back in the 90s, again this past summer, and right now in the fall. And still one of my favorite NES games and one of my favorite RPGs. Its simplicity is great. You just you wake up, you're a kid, your mom says to go see the king. You then have to be, you're the son of a great warrior Ortega, and you're challenged with saving the world basically by defeating the archfiend Baramos. And eventually you find out there's a twist, and I won't spoil it, but it's worth playing. It is on Switch. I do want to play that version as well. I'll give it a little time, maybe another year. The Switch version is like $10. I highly recommend if you've never played a Dragon Warrior and you're not sure where to start, I would start with this one. It's very, very good. Um, the character classes, you go to an inn, you pick character classes, and then you can eventually change those character classes about level 20 or so. You can change to a different party class for your character. Very great game. Um, really love it. The music's iconic. And if you want to play this before Dragon Quest XI, you'll appreciate Dragon Quest XI even more. You don't have to play this before Dragon Quest XI, but playing this will really give you an understanding of how far the similarities. Dragon Quest XI still has that feel of Dragon Quest III, which I love about the Dragon Quest games. They're all feel. They have like a warm blanket. You feel very comfortable with them. One of my favorite series of all time, and Dragon Warrior 3 is up there with a great, great game. Next, for Halloween this was released. This is Luigi's Mansion 3. Really loved Luigi's Mansion 2 on the 3DS. That's the first one I played. And then I played the remake on the 3DS of Luigi's Mansion one Christmas ago and really liked it. I still have yet to play the GameCube version. I do want to do that. Luigi's Mansion 2 I remember really loving. I played it through twice, actually. This one is, I like this one even better. The graphics in it look so amazing. It looks like a living cartoon. The animations of every little thing that Luigi does. The beginning opening is funny with Mario, and you get to see how like Mario's hotel room, when you go in the hotel, there's pizza boxes strewn everywhere. His room's just a mess. It's just a great opening, and it picks up from there. Everything in the world, the hotel, is separated on floors, and just everything's like the physics. You can interact with everything and suck it up with a vacuum, suck the cloths from the tables, the curtains, anything you see, you can go up and interact with it. It must have took an immense amount of time to do this game. It's a playground just of fun reactions, of Luigi getting scared, and what can I do here? The puzzles to get the gems are always hard, not too difficult, but they're challenging enough to, you got to really think about how do I get all the gems on each floor. I think there's about 8 of them. I'm not 100% sure. And there's also You upgrade your vacuum. Poltergust 00, I think it's called this time. Um, and you don't upgrade it a lot, but there is one significant upgrade for it. Um, Egad's back, and he's as great as ever. And Polterpup's back. There's also a new arch enemy. Not two Polterpup, but there's a Poltergeist kitty. Um, and it's just great game. One of the best games on the Switch. It's astonishing. Like, I could see just how the amount of time that went into this game. I did beat it and got the best hotel, because you beat it, you get an A rank. That you have to have 900,000 or more money. So you collect money, and depending on how much money you get a bigger hotel at the end. I found all the gems, all the booze. I took my time with it. I scoured every nook and cranny of it. It took me about 30 hours to do that, much slower than a lot of people, but this game is just a joy to explore and just go back and forth in every little thing. And some of the floors are inventive. The one with the movie studio pops to mind. The one with the twisted, like, Alice in Wonderland theme, where everything's mixed up. There's just so many unique floors. It starts out very like a normal hotel, and in each floor gets a very strong theme. It's a great game. You don't have to play the other ones to like this one. It's one of the finest Switch games you can get for your money. It's just amazing. I love this game a lot. I do want to play it again in another year or so. But yeah, it's a great game. Next up, keeping with the Dragon Warrior tradition, I explained how much I love Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest. This is Dragon Warrior 4. The last time I played this game was on the DS about a year or two ago. Loved that version. The graphics were updated, the character animations for the enemies, everything that was upgraded. They added some endgame, which I didn't do, post-game. Before that, I played it when it came out in 1992. I borrowed it from a friend, and I loved it then. It's basically a very good Dragon Warrior to start with, along with 3, because it's broken up into chapters. You start off with a little chapter of Ragnar, a soldier from, I forget the name of the town, Alahan, I think it is. It might be that. And you have to save kids. You find out who stole them, and it hints to a big bad guy. And you hear about this hero who can save him, so you leave and you go on a quest to find the hero. Then it goes into Alena, one of the best Dragon Quest characters, tomboyish princess, a fighter who is ridiculously strong. I don't think of the 3 times I played, she was always in my character, in my party. She did tremendous amounts of damage, got criticals all the time. She is in a town, it's like a Russian town, and she has a retainer, Christo, who's a healer, and Bray, who's a magician or wizard, and she leaves, they follow her, and she goes on and goes in a tournament. She actually wins the tournament, but she's going on to fight, and she hears about the Pissarro, the Manslayer, and he's nowhere to be found, so she wins by default and ends. She goes off, and then you go on to Marinara, a dancer and a fortune teller, like magician, fighter, mage kind of thing, and they're my least favorite characters, but their chapter's it's longer, but it's still good. Their father is, I think, killed, or something happens with their father. I can't remember quite, but they have to fight this evil guy, Balzac. They go there and they lose, and then they escape, and then they have to find the hero, and then you have Talon. I'm sorry, Talon is before Marinara. Talon's like the merchant, and his chapter is very unique in that the fact your whole point is to raise money to move your family and open up a store of your own. You get a safe that saves money. You can carry that safe throughout the game, so when you die, you don't lose your money, basically. And he has a quest, and then that ends, and then you start the Hero's Quest, which is Chapter 5, and then there is all picking, traveling the world, going to places you've seen and others you haven't, and meeting these characters from the other chapters, they realizing you're the hero and joining you. And it all ends up into a great story that culminates into you saving the world with these great characters. This version has, when you get to Chapter 5, you can only control the hero. You can set tactics like other Dragon Quests, but you can't control those other characters yourself. You have to set tactics to maybe fight wisely, focus on healing, mix it up, attack aggressively, stuff like that. It does a very well job with that. You'd think it would be bad, but it's pretty good. As long as you keep your levels up, you'll be fine. It's smart enough to do fairly well. Dragon Warrior 4 is a great NES game and a great game any way you play it. You can get the DS version now, though I'd recommend that. It's on smartphones. I think it's on Android and iPhone, I think, and or the NES version if you can get it. It's a great game and worth playing. This and Dragon Warrior 3 are good ones to start with. You see a lot of mini medals were introduced in this. You see a lot of what makes modern Dragon Warrior in this one, with the mini medals and everything. So it's a great game. Next up, we have for the Wii, Kirby's Epic Yarn. I've had this for a while and never played it. And I remember when it came out it was re-released on the 3DS. I didn't pick it up because I wanted to play this this version. It was fun. It was very good looking, sounding. Nothing too hard, but that's okay. That's because I didn't go for all the extra challenges. But it didn't take me long to beat, and I really enjoyed my time with it. Everything looks, like yarn, and it has an outline to it. And you go behind the backgrounds, and you see like a bulge where Kirby is. A very fun game. It is on the 3DS too if you want to play that version, and this version can be bought really cheap, used in stores if you find it. It's very much worth your time. Won't be too hard for you. You collect beads, and depending on how many you get a longer, a better score at the end. Very fun game. Next up, a game I've been playing all year long, and I finally beat it. And that's Mole Mania. I have a very hard time with puzzle games. I get stuck on them, and I get frustrated, and I put it down for a while and come back and, oh yeah, it clicks. That's what I did with Mole Mania. Been playing it over a year. It took me forever to beat it, but I'm glad I finally did. Some of the puzzles are very unique, and not in the fact of lots of stuff going on, but it's very simple, but the way they use how you can go underground, dig up to other places, push barrels into holes, stuff like that. It makes it very, very challenging and very use your skills and mental capacity to beat it. It is on the 3DS Virtual Console. You can pick it up for like $5, I think. Very good game. It has Super Nintendo. If you have a Game Boy Super Nintendo Game Boy player, I think that's what it's called. You can it has a border to it with the little mole hands and stuff. Very fun game. Glad I finally beat it. Got a great sense of accomplishment on this game. One of the better puzzle games you can play. Just be ready to be challenged and really enjoy your time with it, like I did. The music's great. It looks great. It has a charm to it. It's just a great game. Next up, a game I've had since it came out, and that's Pikmin 3. I've tried to play this game 2 times. Once when it came out, and I got frustrated with it, and again, and I still got frustrated with it. So I wanted to finish it because I did enjoy the look of it and the sound and everything about it. I was just frustrated by there was too much going on. I had too many things to control. There was a time limit. You had to find fruit during the day, and you could run out of fruit, and I ran out of fruit. A very challenging game. This is one of the more harder games I ever beat, actually. Just, I'm not good at real-time strategy games, but when I finally got to the end, I felt a great sense of accomplishment, and I really enjoyed my time with it. I've never played anything quite like it. It's one of the most beautiful-looking games on Wii U. It has charm up the wazoo, like Nintendo games do. I like the characters. I like Brittany, Alf, and Charlie, the 3 spaceship explorers. And Olimar from the first games, which I haven't played, is in there. Yeah, it's really, really charming. it just took, I think I wasted like over 500, 600 Pikmin. I had to get over them feeling bad when they died, because I would never, I would feel bad and not play it because I'd lose something. I just had to realize I'm not very good at it and just play the game and enjoy it, which I did. But I beat it, and it took me a long time, maybe 40 or 50 days. I got a lot of fruit, maybe 50-some fruit, and I had a fun time with it. This is a game that is replayable. You can go back to any day and try to get better at it, which I think this game is very hard to master. I can't imagine mastering this game. I just don't think, like, okay, do this, send these people here. I can't do that, but I really did enjoy Pikmin 3. Another game I replayed finally. I like this game a lot. It came out in 2011, a Zelda game for the Wii, to end the Wii. And that's Skyward Sword. I beat it then 100%. I loved it. I remember it dragging with some fetch quests during the middle and end. It could have ended. It should have ended a little sooner, I thought. But the story, the music, the emotion of it was what really kept me going. The Wii Remote worked well enough. I didn't have any problems, not responding when I wanted it to. It worked. I could always get it to do what I wanted to, so that wasn't a problem. The biggest problem of this game is there's points where you have to go back and collect tadpoles, and while it's not terrible, it kind of feels like it didn't have to be there. You do that, and then there's these points in these Shadow Kingdoms, I forget what it's called, to open these gates, or these, you have to go into these realms, spirit realms or shadow realms or something, and you have to collect these tears, and there's these things chasing you, but once you get a tear, they stop, and then they're on a timer, and if you don't collect a tear again, they restart, and if any one of those catch you, you have to do it again. You have to do that, I think, 4 times or more, plus the Tadtones part. It really drags the game down. I think it could have done without that and been a better game for it, but I understand, you want to expand and make the game longer. And there's also a part where you fight this one boss, the Imprisoned, who's the main bad guy trying to resurrect, but you have to beat him 3 times. I think once would have been enough for that. They kind of recycle that. But other than that, minus that, I love everything about this game. I think the Zelda and Link relationship in this game is the best. The dungeons are outstanding. The use of the Wii Remote to do a task and fight is great. Did I say the music is great? The cutscenes are very emotional. I cried, especially when Fi at the end leaves and she has to go into the Master Sword. It's very emotional. You just feel for Fi. Like a character just with you all this time, and people say she's annoying, and I understand that. I always loved her, because near the end, because maybe not while playing, but if you stick with it till the end, you'll really feel it. At least I did. I really cared for her, and I found myself tearing up when she left, with the music and everything playing. And you have Groose, which at the beginning he's your rival. He's like a bully. You don't know how to take him, but he expands, his character grows, and he really helps you near the end. He's a great character. Skyloft is cool to explore. The sky is kind of not great. There's a sword cutting mini game. There's a place, a bar where you can go to. But there are little islands dotted somewhere where you go back and get goddess treasure chests. It's not the best exploration. It kind of guides you a lot, but the dungeons are top notch. Some of the bosses, the Coloctos fight is one of the best bosses in Zelda history, and it's just a great game. If you haven't played Skyward Sword, kind of take what I said and expect a little to drag on a little bit, but if you give it a chance, you'll get sucked in the story and really like the dungeons. It's a great experience, and I highly recommend it. Next up, we have 2 more here. The Darksiders on the Wii U. After I finished Skyward Sword, I wanted more Zelda, and I had this and never played a Darksiders game. It's basically more a Zelda type game with a lot more combat focused, like Devil May Cry, Ninja Gaiden, not as complex as that, but you did get combos. You have 3 special weapons. The world is very much broken up into sections, but it feels bigger than it is. Plays very much like Zelda. You play as the horseman war who comes down and inadvertently starts the apocalypse. Humanity gets destroyed. Now you're summoned back and you're imprisoned and you're released to clear your name. And you have to find out what called you down. And the story is hard to follow for me, but I kind of the gameplay and the dungeons and the fun exploring the world is what I really liked, and I really enjoyed this. The Wii U version, I had a lot of crashes on it. I had to restart the game, but luckily the autosave was very generous, so I never lost a lot. But it was very buggy. Sound would cut out, get low, it wouldn't play when it needed to. I'd have tons of crashes. It needed a little bit of a patch to it. But this game was one of the last Wii re-releases. I think they kind of just shoved it out. I don't think it got an actual patch afterwards. I couldn't find one. So I recommend playing this on the 360, PS3, or the HD remaster, which is what came out on other systems. I think it fares better than the Wii U version. But still, I enjoyed it, and I have Darksiders 2 to play when I want that other kick. I'm kind of in a new series. I have a new series to find, play now. Here's Darksiders 3, and then one Darksiders Genesis just came out. And the last game, I just got this for Christmas, because it was Christmas this past week. And that's Yoshi's Crafted World. I just beat this 2 days ago, and I'm going through and just getting some extra souvenirs and stuff in the game. It looks beautiful. The sound's not as great as Woolly World. But first I'll compare to Woolly World is one of my favorite Wii U games. It's a joy to play, it's a joy to look at, it's a joy to listen to, especially the soundtrack is A+. This game is very, very fun. I don't like it as much as Woolly World. I think Woolly World's the better game. But it still has that feeling of a Yoshi game where there's collectibles. The strength of these games is making it as hard as you want to. If you want it to be harder, you go for all the collectibles and items. And there's a ton in this game. So what I did was I went through all the levels, got all the stars, or all the flowers, all the red coins, got my health, to the max when I ended, and you get flowers for those. And then there's a flip side to those where you have to catch 3 Yoshi Poochie Pups, and you get 3 flowers for each pup. One flower for each pup, and if you do it in a time limit, you get another flower. So I'm doing those. And then there's another one where this little robot guy will say, hey, find this for me. And there's these elements hidden in the environment where you have to shoot with an egg, and then you can leave the level and give them to him. And there's a ton of those. The majority of a lot of the flowers on the end game come from that. You don't have to do them, so I'm just doing them as like maybe 1 or 2 a day if I feel like it. And you get little craftables, and you can look at them like one's maybe a fish that looks like a paper plate. One's maybe flowers, or a butterfly that's made out of cardboard or construction paper. And you have to go through the levels, flip side and back side, finding those maybe 2 or 3 times each. So you really get to see, like, scavenge, because you're looking for it. You really get to appreciate what the levels are made of. But you don't have to do that, and I recommend if you play this game, just go through the normal levels, get what you can, and beat it. There is a special, if you beat the game, it unlocks a special 3-level island plus a boss rush, a boss at the end, where those 3 levels are harder than any levels before, but they're not super hard. But to 100% this game is going to take a little bit, but I did beat it, and I'm having fun playing through it. And getting collectibles as I play through it on my own. Yoshi's Crafted World. This was a Christmas gift from my mom, and I figured, like, through the year I'm not going to buy all the games I want. I'm just going to, because I have enough to play, I'm just going to put aside some for Christmas. So, like I did this year, and say, hey Mom, you want something to give me this game. So it's like I'm a kid again. At Christmas morning, I open up a new game. You can smell the nice new game smell, and just play that game and have fun in your pajamas like you were a kid. And that was kind of cool to do this year. So that's all the games I beat for November, December of 2019. I hope you had a great year, and I hope 2020 is great for you. And I will see you for games I beat in December, or maybe December or I'm sorry, January games I beat in January or January, February. Take care.